Alright guys, we are going to go get started with our last exit ticket information. So these are questions 6 through 10. It's the same standard. You're going to be interpolating or you're going to be extrapolating. So that means that you're making a prediction of an unknown value, either within two values, that's the inter part, or outside of the two values. So for number 6, it says based on table 3. So that means that I'm going to go to table 3, the wet road stopping distance for tires inflated to a CIP of 270 would most likely be. So I'm going to find where 270 falls, and that means that it's going to be after my table, right? So I'm going to look at 240 and 210 to find the trend, okay? Then I'm just looking at wet roads. So wet road here is 19. For 240, it's 18.6. And for 270, so these are going down, so that means it's going to be below 18.6. So for the answer to this one, we are going to figure out ones that are below 18.6. That means we can immediately cross off C and D and then check here. So for number 6, I am going to pick that the answer is B. And if I look at that, that's because these are really close together. We're not changing by this much, right? So it's not going to go all the way down to 16. So 16 is too much of a drop. All right, number 7. Based on figure 2, so I'm going to look at figure 2. And then I'm going to figure this one out. So, figure 2 at 4 centimeters DOP would most likely require a launch velocity of. So, let's look here. Alrighty, so figure 2, let's go to figure 2. I'm going to do this in a different color. Figure 2, a DOP of 4 would most likely require a launch velocity of. So you just trace it on the graph right here. So that's 4. And that's 800, 9, 10, 900, 1,000, 1,100, 12. So that's about 1,200. So I'm going to flip back. And my launch velocity is going to be the 1,200 one. So this one's almost 1,200. So we go there. Number 8, based on the results of experiment 1. So notice how I didn't even read the passage. A launch velocity of 1650 would produce which of the following DOPs? So I'm going to go to experiment 1. A launch velocity of 1650, so 14, 15, 16. That's going to be around here. And go up to the line, and then right here. So it's going to be between 7 and 8. So 7.8 would be my answer. Again, did not even remotely look at the passage. Alrighty. Number 9, based on figure 3. So I'm going to go to figure 3. Which of the following would not be a possible DOP for a new ceramic material that has an areal density of 12.5 and is more effective than Al2 but less effective than TiB2? So I'm looking at Al, and so I'm looking between those two values. So that means that it needs to be between these two lines. So it's going to be, so for these ones you're just tracing, between 4 and 1.5, so 1.5 to 4. So we want one that is not in that range. What's not in the range of 1.5 to 4? So the answer to number 9, that's in the range, that's in the range, that's in the range, 9 is not. And the last one, based on figure 2, a 7 centimeter DOP would most likely require a launch velocity of. So I'm going to go to 7 centimeters. That would hit the line right about there. trace that down. So 1300, 14, 15, 16. So that means it's going to be between 15 and 1600. All right, so 1492, that's too little. 1578, maybe. 1678 is too high. 1735 is too high. That's all you got to do for those ones. This one is pretty easy. Never looked at a question, so all you got to do is trace the graphs.